Hi everyone, and welcome to this video where we're going to be using the arpeggiator and note repeat smart controls in a creative way to add some techno percussion to this beat. So these are the hats we're going to be making, and in particular for this video we're going to be focusing on the fast hats. So firstly I'm just going to turn the ARP off for this track, and if we want to get into ARP mode we press Shift and ARP, and if we want to get into scale mode we press Shift and Scale, and as you can see that then highlights along the bottom of the rotary encoders. As you can see we now have a drum kit mapped across the keyboard and colour coded using the light guide. We can use the encoder to change between note repeat mode and ARP mode. So there's note repeat and there's ARP. So in this case I'm going to leave it in note repeat mode. The first encoder we're going to look at is this rhythm encoder. So this is currently set to 16th notes. But if you're a trap or a hip hop producer, then you might want to automate this function and change it from 16ths to maybe triplets or other divisions so you can get that sort of offbeat or tighter feel. We then have the swing function. So this is going to offset every other note to give it a bit of a shuffled feel. Now we can think about actually playing in the hats and recording them. But before we do that, I'm going to think about how we can make this a little bit more of a performance and add a little bit of playability to this part. So if we look to the software, what we could do is we could go to the setup and we could turn on the articulation, or maybe we could even turn on the MIDI echo or the humanization. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make it so we can control these sort of functions from the hardware. So I'm going to set up a modulation source, and we could do this from the touch strip, or we could use aftertouch on the keyboard. But in this case, I'm going to go for the pitch bend because it's nice and obvious for you to see. And I'm going to set this to the volume. So I'll just show you how this now works. You can see I can either reduce or increase the volume and it returns to the middle position, which is quite handy. So now I'm going to record something in. So I'm just going to navigate down using the 4-way encoder to a new clip slot. And now I can record by either pushing the encoder or just hitting the record button. So let's now record some hats. We can have a look at our clip and do a bit of editing if we need to. So in this case, I'm just going to press quantize. So it's definitely starting at the first beat. And if we go into the clip envelope settings, we can actually see the modulation that we recorded in. So this is the MIDI control pitch bend. So that's now recorded into the clip. So when I'm mixing, I like to use the mute and solo buttons so I can see how it sounds in solo, and then I can mute it and actually see if I miss it when it's gone. So I can just navigate through the mixer and mute and solo parts. Now if we press the mix button, then we can actually do this across all of our tracks. And at the moment I'm in the pan control, but if I go shift and down, then I can go to the volume control and I can adjust the levels of any parts within the mix. And if I go shift and up, then it changes to pan controls and I can pan parts left and right. So if we have multiple shakers or hats, then we can pan them in different directions. Then we can bring parts back in. And we can press shift and down again to go back into the volume. From here we can either carry on adjusting the mix of our track, or we can carry on recording clips and ideas to build out our arrangement.